Hi there, and welcome to my March 2024 sketchbook. I always have a sketchbook just laying around. Even if I'm watching TV or something, I'll just be drawing something at the same time. I always tell artists that a sketchbook is like one of the most valuable parts of your practice. It kind of helps you to see the world through the lens of drawing. And you never get out of the... One of the hardest things of doing like a big piece, it seems quite daunting, and I feel like I do my best drawings like maybe every like sort of, if I do 5 drawings, then maybe the third and fourth ones will be good. So it's quite hard to get that momentum going just from cold. So I like to just draw small drawings and kind of resolve things in my pad. So it's not like such a big leap to doing a more considered kind of bigger drawing. If there's something that I find hard to draw, I will do it in my sketch pad. Still really bad at drawing motorbikes. But there's certain things, once you get them in your head, you can sort of subdivide them and turn them around in space. Like, if I was to draw a fairly sort of simple shape, like this bottle of paint, I could turn that around in my head in perspective quite easily and draw the foreshortening. But when it comes to a more complex machine or the human body, I feel like it takes you more practice, but you can get those more complex shapes locked in your sort of visual library, and you're able to draw them freehand later on. I wasn't like copying a Gorilla's piece of artwork, but Jamie Hewlett is one of my all-time heroes. I love his style, it's so distinctive. So I was kind of going for a slightly Hewlett-esque thing. But also I've been looking at a lot of Katsuhiro Otomo's work, who's the director of Akira and the artist and writer of the Akira comic books, which they make my brain hurt. The drawing is so precise in those. It's like, I can't believe someone actually made that by hand. So that was this sort of color. The color scheme is a bit more Katsuhiro Otomo. This is... I like to, when I'm sketching a character, I like to put them sort of somewhere in a story or like a sort of world. And I like to just draw them sort of standing up straight with no context. And this, I thought of this character as a sort of explorer that was maybe trying to collect samples of some weird phenomenon on a alien planet. Anyway, I don't really know what I was thinking there. I liked it felt like this person was looking at something. So I created this thing in there. This is a lonely robot. I really love films like, I remember AI, which was not very critically well received back in the day, but it had a lot of sort of android robots. And there was a sort of junkyard scene where they had lots of missing parts. And I really loved that kind of mix of organic and mechanical design. And how it felt like it was actually like a real working piece of equipment. I also really like the production design in the name's gone out of my head now. The new Gareth Edwards film, anyway, where they have this sort of hollow circle going through the head. I thought I was a bit jealous of that, so I wish I'd come up with that. This here, I drew this one first and had a blank page in between these two. And sometimes it's quite fun to just riff on a silhouette. And if you already have it, if you can see it just through the page, it kind of speeds up. You can just draw around those lines and create something different out of the same, kind of saves you time somehow to riff on ideas. I like using different coloured pens when I'm sketching. I feel like the different colours kind of spark different ideas. And also when you're drawing stuff and it contrasts something else, I feel like that throws up different possibilities rather than just using black ink all the time. I was trying to come up with I felt like I was drawing people too flat. I wanted to come up with a pose that was really kind of like a tangle of limbs kind of thing. I quite like this character. He feels very 90s, like someone that was in White Men Can't Jump or something like that. I started drawing these kind of fry cut characters, but I think I ran out of inspiration for that. But there's something quite intense going on here anyway. I've been doing lots of kettlebell workouts, and I think this is, in my mind, how I imagine I'm going to be in 6 months. Keep you posted on that. I think drawing interesting compositions, this is not like a finished idea, but you can see I'm sort of messed up in various places, but sometimes it's good to just get a rhythm of a sketch going. That's why I really like Pentel brush pens, which is what most of these drawings are done by. Don't know if you can see that. But you can get a lot of variation of line down very quickly. And it's kind of hard to do. Like if you wanted to do something perfect, I'd go with more of a sort of fine liner like that, or a sort of brush that was made for inking. This is quite hard to control, but I like that. I like the sort of wobbliness of the lines. Stops it from getting too static. Sometimes I'll like start a character and mess it up. So, or in my opinion, mess it up. It's not coming out how I imagined. And that sometimes I'll abort that drawing and then I'll come back later on and just, because I don't really care about it anymore, I'll just do a sort of silly idea on top. But that's quite good in sketchbooks. When you run out of space, you can go back and re-find old drawings that you don't really like and fill in the blanks. And sometimes you come up with something that's kind of, you wouldn't normally have drawn from muscle memory. I think I just watched June and I was kind of thinking about, there's supposed to be a character in there that's like controls the sort of the big transport spaceship that they have, that's like a big kind of brain tentacle spice blob that's in the books, and I think it's in the David Lynch film as well. So it's just kind of like thinking about some big jellyfish type creature that was floating above Arrakis. This, I think I sort of gave up on, because I was trying to do something a bit more like that had a bit more form and kind of volume. And that's the good thing about sketchbooks, is you can quite quickly realize what you don't want, and a composition that's kind of like doesn't have much of a focal point, and then you can learn your lesson straight away from that, and next page go, okay, what I didn't like about that, I'm gonna change and apply to this drawing. This, I think, was I don't know what I was thinking there. This is a little sort of moto cherub. This was me trying to draw my kind of flow state in some way. I get to a certain point late at night where I feel like I'm no longer consciously thinking about what I'm drawing. I'm just letting the pen move and kind of finding kind of interesting ideas. I like that way of drawing without doing a pencil sketch and then inking that. You kind of, sometimes a mistake will sort of inspire a bunch of new ideas, just by trying to hide the mistake or trying to sort of incorporate it. I'm really into the idea of kissing robots. I think I'm going to do a bigger piece like that soon. This is I've stopped eating refined sugar and bread, and I was trying to draw a sort of personification of sugar cravings. So this is my little cannoli goblin, and this is his sidekick. These are some sort of like, I don't know, this stripy guy kind of reminded me of like a Tim Burton circus kind of thing. Remember in Batman Returns, the Penguin's kind of lair where he has loads of weird kind of old school circus people, carny folk. These are my sort of little carny folk, but I quite like them. I'd like to explore something with those guys later on. This basically, how you hold your pen can have a lot to do with the kind of drawing you produce. So these are all with a I think number 1 fine liner, and it gives you a completely different line from the brush pen, which is more like a painterly kind of paintbrush line. This is much more controlled and kind of angular, and I like to switch up the materials that I'm using, so because it gives you quite different kind of feels to the drawing. And this one, I was holding the pen quite near the end like that, so you get a sort of less control over the line, but it gives you quite a nice kind of jagged. Is it jagged? I don't know. Like it's like a sort of, it's less control anyway, and you end up with a more sort of stylized feeling drawing. This, I watch quite an unhealthy amount of 600 Pound Life. I'm very into anatomy and drawing different shaped people, and there's something like really fascinating to me about someone who gets that huge and how their body tries to deal with it. So yeah, I think I was watching £600 Life when I drew this. Oh look, here's some more cannoli goblins. Donuts. Sweet carbs. This is a sort of fat Joker. I like, I mean, obviously all the new Jokers are all serious and, you know, I don't think you can really the Joker can't get much better than it's been or darker or whatever, but I always thought, I liked Jack Nicholson's Joker, and I was trying to think of other sort of comedians that would be a more like funny Joker rather than such a scary version. And I was thinking of like, I'm obsessed with Chris Farley. I think it would have been interesting to see a completely different take on a Joker. This is my sort of like futuristic groundskeeper Willie type dude. There's robotic arm. This, I think I sort of abandoned this. Sometimes I just draw kind of organic forms when I can't think of anything to draw, and just to loosen my wrist up. I feel like when you go at a sort of final drawing, you go like, this is going to be the best drawing ever. You always mess it up because it's too much pressure. You need to sort of like warm up your flow state the same way that you'd warm your muscles up before a workout or like competing in a sports event. So sometimes I'll just squiggle around for a bit just to loosen my wrist up. And this guy, I mean, what can you say? He's a mustachioed automaton. I think that's as far as I got so far in March. Yeah, that's it. So this is a Daler and Rowney. They're pretty cheap, I think. A6. But it's quite good. It can fit in your pocket. Well, can't really fit in your pocket, but it can fit in the coat pocket. But I like to. This one's more kind of ideas or concepts, but I like to carry a sketchbook with me and draw more like stuff from first-hand observation of just like things out in the world. And I feel like sometimes that gives you really good inspiration because you are there's things in the real world that, you know, if you're just pulling from your own imagination, there's a limit to what you can think up. And I'm a big fan of Kim Jong-il, and he always talks about sort of drawing things to build up your own visual library, and it definitely works. Like the more you draw stuff, and try and stay out of your comfort zone, because you're like, okay, I know how to draw whatever it is well. You're not learning anything if you just keep drawing, you know, motorbikes over and over again, or whatever it is that you find easy to draw. Yeah, that's it. That's March sketchbook. I'm going to be... Yeah, so that's my March sketchbook. Yeah. So that's my March sketchbook. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ding the thing, ring your bling. And I will be doing more instructional videos soon, or I don't know how instructional they are, but you can just watch me drawing basically, and learn it for your own self.